Hello everyone. Welcome back to Chips and Talk. This is episode, what is it, 55? I don't fucking know. 54. We cannot get this wrong because when we get it wrong, then I have to go in and fix it either on the podcasting app or whatever, or on the podcast platforms, or on YouTube or whatever. Oh, God. Anyways. I'm not tired, but I'm having like some post-nasal drip action. I don't even know, I don't even know if that's the actual correct term. It's that thing where like your throat, like it hurts to kind of, it doesn't hurt, but it's annoying to swallow because you just feel like you have a lump or something. It's like tiny, but it's that thing that you start feeling it right before you get really sick. I really hope I don't get sick. This usually happens that one day of like slight discomfort in the throat, and then you wake up the next day and you're like, yep, I'm sick. So hopefully that's not the case. And also you may have noticed I've been talking about a new camera for like the past 2 episodes or something. This is a new camera. It's a different camera from 2 episodes ago, but, this one right here is the same camera from the last episode, but some different settings. And I got a new lens. It's a very blurry background. I don't think you can see it as well because it's kind of dark but light somewhere. Like it's a weird. I don't have good lighting. Okay, but I'm assuming I look good, right? I mean, I hope so. So let me know what you guys think about the look. I think I tell you this every single time, so I'm very sorry if it annoys the shit out of you, but I'm trying to look good here. But this new lens, I love it. It's the lens that I guess I've always wanted for my camera. I guess it's just the very focused look and then kind of a blurrier background. And yeah, so hopefully this looks good. I didn't know, just how much you could toy with like cameras. There's like ISO, which is essentially kind of just the lighting in general for the whole picture, right? At least I think so. There's aperture, which is just how blurry everything around you is and how focused, or how, I guess, in focus the center will be. And then there is shutter speed, which that more has to do with light and how it, I guess, affects your camera and the way the image looks. So, for example, there's this light here. I'm pointing it right now. That it's a PlayStation logo light, right? And it sort of dims and then like lights and then dims and lights. And I noticed that in higher shutter speeds, which would be like 1 to 2, the way it is, it's 1/200. Like that's kind of the measurement or whatever. When you do it like that, this starts flickering, and even like the TV starts flickering a little bit, just a tiny bit. At least the lights are very, very apparent. Different lights, artificial lighting has different ways that it interacts with the camera's lens, right? I don't know. And so you have to lower the shutter speed so the camera doesn't capture the flickering light. So thankfully it doesn't really have a huge change in general, but when you lower the shutter speed, your light, your overall light, I think, like your ISO increases, I believe. I'm not sure. I have no idea. Automatically it is. So on cameras, you can go manual, settings, or you can go auto settings. And usually when you go auto settings, you get really frustrated because the camera doesn't do a good job. And I found this out with my other camera that I had, and then this camera that I have. It just, God, when you put it on auto, everything just goes crazy. You're not happy with anything. And then I got really frustrated. But then I found out how to manually just adjust everything. And then after that, I was like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. I was like, this is, you can do stuff, like it can actually look okay. So, hopefully this looks okay. I've been toying around, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. I look how I look. And basically with the type of lighting, with how sensitive this camera is and the lens is with lighting or whatnot, I'm probably gonna have to toy around with all these settings like every single time I film. It's insane. But Yeah, Chips and Talk, guys, thank you so much for being here, whether you're on YouTube, SuperJesusJackson, or you are on podcast platforms of your choice, whether it be Spotify or Apple Music. Thank you so much. Make sure to leave a review on those. It helps a ton. If you're on my YouTube, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the content, or comment down below if you have an inquiry, and I might answer it in the next episode. But what was I going to do? Oh, yes, Chips and Talk. What we do here, we literally talk, and then we eat chips or any snack of any kind. In my case, I'm going to have an Oreo again. I'm sorry. Look, guys, I can't be eating like bags of chips every day, number one. But number two, I cannot be getting different bags of chips. That's a lot of money. And number three, although that'd be once a week, I don't really. I probably have to put more effort into this podcast. I just love Oreos. That's number one. And also, I have one more Oreo left. So, and I'm not gonna put it up to the camera, or am I? Yeah, fuck it. I'll put it up to the camera. Oh shit. Oh no. It's like, see, that's the thing too. Is I hate like eating near here because it just, no matter how hard you try to not get shit on your shit, it gets on your shit. So it's kind of annoying. Oh God. It's like lightly everywhere on my keyboard. It's everywhere. Okay, that's still recording. All right, I'm kind of paranoid. But all right. This is the Oreo. There we go. You got it. Let's see how close it can get. That's amazing. Yes. Yeah, so this is the Oreo here. It's kind of a beautiful cookie. I love it. I think it's a gorgeous cookie. I wonder like if it'll focus. Like, no, it won't because my face is still behind it. But it's a beautiful cookie. I love it. It's delicious cookie. I think I've talked enough about Oreos because I did eat one last time. But you know what? Here's what it is. Here's the difference. Okay, last episode, the Oreo that I ate was kind of stale. This time, this one's not stale. It is legit. It is an actual Oreo that is delicious. At least I hope so, because it was the only one left in this wrapper, and the wrapper was kind of open. So hopefully it's good. So here we go. I'm gonna try not to make a mess here. Oh no, it's fucking stale. This is what happens, when you I'm not eating this shit. Fuck this. You know what? Oh, wait. You know what? I'm going to do the twist challenge on it. Oh, see, it can't even twist. That's how you know it's fucking stale as shit. Oh, no. Now, oh, fuck. Now it's spitting all over me because it's mad. It's mad at me. Yeah, we're not eating that. So, fuck that. Escaping that turmoil, because that's turmoil. That's what I like to call pain. Fuck, what the fuck is that? Oh, those are tests. Okay, all right. Sorry guys. Got a little distracted there. Okay, so no cookie today. Sorry about that. It's stale as fuck. I'm not doing that shit again, okay? I did it last episode for all of you, and I didn't get thanks or cookies or anything like that in return. So go fuck right off. Jesus Christ. I'm going all the way here. I'm going all the way. I should probably cool it on the cussing here just because I'm in public. I mean, come on. Like, don't you want to be like, just a little bit more cognizant of publicity and yeah. Okay. Well, I guess I can tell you what I've been up to. What have I been up to? Actually not a lot. I've been playing a little bit more of God of War Ragnarok. And I am enjoying it, although it's very long. It is very long. I'm 20 hours in, and I know that I still have like about 5 or 6 more hours to go. So it's very long. I'm kind of getting to the point where I want it to end a little bit, but the story's really nice. Like I enjoy it. It's, I guess this is what's interesting is that I was thinking, that video games are kind of unique, right? It's a unique medium. You can look at a game like The Last of Us, for example. It came out in 2013 or 2012. One of the greatest games of our generation, probably the greatest game of this generation, probably. Of my generation, at least, in video games. Probably. I'm sure maybe when I'm 30 or 40, like some other game will come out that will be better than The Last of Us. But at least The Last of Us is one of the greatest games of all time. And one of the reasons why it's one of the greatest games of all time is because it advanced the genre forward. It made the medium just have, not that it needed it, but, video games have always competed against film and music in their legitimacy, right? Because some people don't consider video games as legitimate as music or film when it comes to art, but they very much are. They're more expensive than any of those other mediums, and they make more money than any of those other mediums, believe it or not. Fortnite alone makes a shit ton more money than any movie, but Fortnite to me it's a video game. It's fun, right? Doesn't mean it's not art, but it's not as artistic as other games, right? The Last of Us it sold really well, sold very respectable, probably made more money than music, at least. Maybe a film, I'm not sure. But The Last of Us definitely advanced the genre forward. It was like in many ways, it was like, Citizen Kane 3.0 for the video game genre, right? With like maybe Pac-Man or fucking, Super Mario Brothers being Citizen Kane, the first one, right? If that makes any sense. So The Last of Us definitely was a benchmark. It was a tentpole video game, right, for the genre. That game is more like a movie than it is like other games. Like that game is more close to a movie than other games. But the thing is that that's still a video game. Like, part of the reason why it's so great is because it is a video game and it's very fun to play, and it has a lot of design in the way that you play the game. Like that's a huge part of the game. So even though it's a very cinematic film, it's still like a film. I mean, like a video game, that is. And then we look at something like God of War Ragnarok, which is very cinematic, like more cinematic than I would say other games, but it's a lot more gameplay focused than The Last of Us. It not only has a little bit more freedom, it's not so linear, but it still is very linear, but it has a semi-open world aspect to it, which I really like. I don't really like games that are open world in general, unless they're very structured, because I don't know, something like Breath of the Wild, for example. I'm sorry, probably a lot of you that don't really know video games are probably tuning the hell out of here. Look, I'm sorry. If you're tuning out, please feel free to click out of this video. I'm sorry, or you can listen. But Breath of the Wild was a very open world video game. That was another tentpole video game that a lot of people thought was just so great, right? It was it definitely made a stamp on the video game medium. But that game is super open world. Almost has no direction to it. You could do whatever you want in any order you want, whatever. And then there's Elden Ring, which was very much inspired by Breath of the Wild. And that one just took the open world to another level. It's even more vague. It's even more ambiguous. It even has even less direction, but it really hit. Like that game, that's another tentpole video game. That game just transcended the genre. Like that type of game, no one that, I don't know, fucking plays Fortnite or plays, I don't know, just the typical Call of Duties, whatever, play that game, that type of game. But Elden Ring was the type of game that just transcended its genre, and so many people just hopped on the bandwagon for that game that otherwise wouldn't. Hell, there's people even in age, because those types of games really require a lot of skill. But that game really showed that, if you could just put the hours into it and put effort into it, you're going to be able to really succeed in that game. It's insane. That is just a once in a lifetime game, honestly. Perhaps. Made a lot of money. One of the best games, one of the best selling games, probably the best selling. I'm not sure. But it was insane, right? But that game has absolutely just no. It's not really like a movie. That game is a game. You know what I mean? Like there's no, like, the story is not told in a cinematic way at all. The Last of Us is kind of peak cinematic level, video game design, even though there's games like Walking Dead that are basically like graphic novels that you play. well, not they look like graphic novels, but they're more like TV shows, and you play them and you make choices. But I would say that that's not really a video game, like in the way that Last of Us is, God of War is, even though it is, but it's a point and click adventure. It's to me, it's no different than reading Goosebumps and doing that, like do your own adventure Goosebumps books, where like you could like, go like you would jump to whatever page to continue the story from there, like that's kind of what those games are. And that's not discrediting them. I'm just saying that they're not like video games in the way that, other video games would be. Even though they do have certain video game aspects to it, like, like push the right stick to like hit a zombie or whatever. Like there's little tiny moments of engagement, but overall it's a very passive experience that really, it's about the story. It's not about gameplay. And so, it's more like an interactive book, I guess, interactive TV show. But The Last of Us, I would say, is it is as cinematic as you can get while still it being a game, right? And then God of War is sort of in the middle, and then you have Elden Ring. God of War, I think, is my favorite way of going about a video game, as much as I love The Last of Us. And I love its gameplay. I would say I love its gameplay more than I do God of War's, even though God of War's gameplay is super, super fun. And the story of The Last of Us is just fantastic. Like that, yeah, that is a better game. Of course it is. But like, if we're talking about like, I don't know, like just like see, now I'm just contradicting myself, but like The Last of Us is a very fun video. Like it's a very fun video game. God of War is a very fun video game. I'm not going to talk about Elden Ring because I don't really, that's probably not my cup of tea at all. Not only gameplay wise, but, it's too much freedom. I don't think I would like that. Although I always wanted to. And I do like games that give you a lot of freedom, like Fallout. But I would say that's a little bit more guided. I don't know. It's different. But God of War to me, just it doesn't let you free, but it doesn't, it doesn't chain you, right? Or no, it lets you free, but it doesn't chain. I have no fucking idea. What I'm saying is it's the perfect middle ground, right, between freedom and being chained. But having a linear experience like The Last of Us. And what I mean by linear experience, for those of you who don't play video games, is, you go from level to level. It's very guided. You don't really go off the beaten path. Like, there's no open world aspects to it. God of War has that. And it has side quests. It's more of a role-playing game, so you level up and you upgrade your armor and all that shit. It's a lot more engaging in a gameplay way that way. Even though Last of Us does have RPG mechanics, but not as expansive as God of War's. But God of War, it really has this thing where its main story is good, but to me, the side quests, the engagement between the main story missions and the characters, the side characters that you go off and do side quests with and whatnot, that is the fun part of the game. And not only gameplay wise, but story wise. Like that's where, the puzzles are. That's where the traversal is, the discovery is, the combat is, the fun combat is, that is. And it's where you get really kind of meaningful story, even though I don't have any idea what's going on in the God of War story in general, like in terms of its story arc. But it really does story well, because I don't have to be super into it. I don't really have to know exactly what's going on, but that just goes to show you how well it does story, because I still am getting, something out of its story through those side quests. Those side quests really talk about forgiveness, and they do tie into the main story. But it's really the connections that you start building with the side characters, and again, forgiveness, and peace over war. And just patience. It has these really like Zen. It has a very Zen aspect to it, even though it is literally a game called God of War. And that dichotomy just works so well. And so maybe this is just an episode talking about God of War, but it's really about, I guess, video games. Like The Last of Us is a fantastic video game. It's a masterpiece. It is a better game than God of War. I think, objectively right. But God of War, like, if you want a video game, but you still want to get a meaningful story that really kind of like touches you, and it's super video gamey, but it's still, like very deep, as deep as The Last of Us can be sometimes. God of War is like the perfect middle ground there. And a game like God of War is the perfect video game experience, I guess. The Last of Us is like I said, less of a video game than it is than God of War is. But if we're talking about a video game, God of War, I think, has that perfect balance of delivering a great story, delivering that power of a story, whether it's through from pure narrative, but its gameplay is still video gamey and fun and engaging and deep, right? And that's the best. And that's really like, that's fun for me. That's better than a movie to me. That's better than, any other medium. Music, I'm going to put it to the side for a bit. But, for me, that's what makes video games, I think, better than films. Just something like God of War. But at the end of the day, God of War's story is very complex. It's super, like, it's just a lot. It's a lot of stuff thrown at you. So it's not as cohesive, I guess, or focused as a film, which makes sense. But I'm still having this very transcendental experience playing God of War. Like, I don't want to spoil. But there's some very meaningful moments in that game. It's a very special game. I really do think so. And its gameplay is awesome too. So that's why I think it's just perfect, because it's an engaging. It's a way to get everything that you would get off a film and then some. That's what God of War is to me. And I guess The Last of Us is that too, technically, right? Because it is a video game and you do get so much film. But I would say you get more film than you do in God of War, and kind of God of War is just kind of really the perfect middle ground, But, some people will look at Last of Us and be like, that is super legitimate. Really legitimizes the genre, and then you can look at God of War and be like, well, this is just more of a video game, like in that derogatory term, and it shouldn't be, because video games can be much more than just video games, right? So I don't even know where I was going with this. It's really just to praise God of War, and really just to praise the way that it's made, and all of that. It just really makes me want to talk about it. And just makes me fall in love with the video game genre even more. And The Last of Us did as well. But sometimes, though, I will admit, when I'm playing The Last of Us, sometimes I'm just like, I just want to watch this, But the gameplay is very fun. So it's usually when the cutscenes are going on where I'm just like, let's just let it roll, Like, whereas in God of War, it's like, okay, when do I play? When I'm watching a cutscene sometimes. And that's a good thing too. So I don't know, it's fascinating. Two different experiences that still really just make video games that much greater, I think. But anyway, that might be that's my opinion now. Maybe next episode I'll talk about how film is better. I have no idea. But I'm SuperJesusJackson. Thanks so much for joining me on this episode of Chips and Talk. This was a blast. I had a lot of fun. I'm sorry that I'm kind of treading on topics that I've talked about before. I really should bring up a new topic like sex or something. I will maybe next episode. Who knows? Sex and film. Okay. But anyways, that's it for me. You guys take care, stay safe, and until next time, I love you.